We're going to talk about a boring business with about $2.5 million in sales with lower startup costs. We are going to talk about a resale in Nashville, Tennessee that'll probably sell pretty quickly. Talk about someone who was former military who bought a senior care franchise, as well as should you buy a franchise? A podcast with a client in his mid-50s and his journey to figure out what to do next in life. And if you want to get this email in your inbox every Sunday morning at 8 a.m., go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter. For now, that newsletter is completely free, and it will land in your inbox on Sunday mornings. If you have any questions, since we're here live, drop any questions you have, maybe about your franchise process, wherever you are in the journey, and we can jump into that. All right, let's talk about this resale first and foremost. So this is this resale is a company called That One Painter, and they are. Can you guess what they do? Can you guess what they do? They're a painting franchise, so they do residential and commercial painting, right? And they're part of Resi Brands, which is a home services conglomerate, one of the fastest growing home services franchises. They have 374 franchise units throughout the U.S. So, look, fast growing doesn't always necessarily mean the best. Just because something's growing fast, I know that we always assume that means like, ooh, this is a great opportunity. Doesn't necessarily mean that. We want to show you guys the opportunity. We want to just lead with the data, the numbers. It is what it is. You still have to do your own due diligence. It's part of what we teach our clients how to do, right? Because sometimes a really fast growing franchise could mean like your experience, like they're still building the plane while they're flying. I'm not saying that that's the case with this particular brand, but just want to say that fast isn't always better, right? So this particular franchise, and for those of you who have heard of Cody Sanchez or know her, she recently bought into the brand, the entire brand. So she owns part of that brand as a whole. But the way that they do things are all very modern at this brand. They're very tech forward, really interesting. But this is in Nashville, Tennessee. The asking price is $280,000. It was recently listed. Will probably sell quick just because of how much excitement is kind of around this brand and franchisor in general. There are 2 territories included. There's 1 truck included. The year-to-date revenue of approximately $230,000. So that's nothing crazy to write home about. But you know, it's more than zero. It is more than zero. They've got 65 Google reviews. And they've got a residential commercial base, and owner wants to focus on another business. So what is our take over here at Franchise Empire on this? So yeah, That One Painter, it harnesses the power of their parent company, Resi Brands, which includes an in-house appointment center and a in-house marketing and creative team. The franchisor takes care of all scheduling, marketing, social media, SEO, web design, and content creation for the franchisees, which is pretty cool. But keep in mind, like that's something that you do pay for, right? Like usually with franchisors that have additional stuff that they may do, like you don't the in-house appointment center, you would pay like a monthly fee for that. But the benefit is you don't necessarily have to have someone full-time right away or on your team that you have to train how to call leads and book them and schedule them, you know, all those different things. Their business model, like most of the painting franchises, usually uses subcontractors to do the painting jobs, which can keep your overhead and salaried labor low. If interested in this resale opportunity, we suggest understanding the current employees' roles in the business and how many subcontractors the business has in rotation to use. And then overall, Nashville is just a fast-growing area, which seems like it has a lot of potential. So it's difficult to find a well-established home services franchise that is available in the Nashville area. Now, if you're interested in this specific resale, or if you're just interested in resales in general, go to franchiseempire.com/resales. Where is that button? You can go here and put a quick inquiry in for our team to check and see what's available in your area. You know, I've gotten feedback from the team that some of the folks who are interested in resales there's a little bit of a misaligned unrealistic expectations. And look, I know we talk about a lot about resales, but I do want to just provide a little bit of education or some maybe common misconceptions. Like, I think from what I've seen is that people like the idea of a resale because, okay, I can walk into something that's already making money, right? And it's going to be easier. It is not going to be easier. Now, is it helpful to walk into something that already has some momentum going? Yes. But the analogy is, especially if you've never owned a business before, it's like you're going to learn how to drive in a Ferrari, in something that goes really fast, that with one small error, you can crash and make a mistake. And so you do need to be careful with resales. And if you don't have experience leading a team, I would say you shouldn't buy a resale because you don't have the capacity. It's like someone who's just lifting weights and you decide to put a ton of weight on the bar. And it's like you just don't have, your tendons aren't strong enough, your soft tissue is not strong enough. You just don't have enough muscle. You just don't have the capacity to be able to handle it. And so some people can, some people can't. We had clients that bought a resale doing $2 million a year in sales, and they were more experienced business people. And they're like, it's so much harder than I thought it would be. And so it's something to keep in mind. And one of the best ways to get into a resale is to find a brand first, buy a new franchise within that brand, and then, buy up your neighboring franchisees as you learn more and more about that business overall. But a lot of you may think that just buying a resale is going to solve your problems, which is not the case. And if you're looking for just a resale that you can step in and do just semi-passive, then you probably have unrealistic expectations and you're probably doomed for failure. If you're going into a business with the mindset of how can I work the least amount to make the most amount of money, unless you're a super experienced business person, that will probably lead to you underperforming and probably failing. Just to let you know, just to be super straight with you, the people that I find have the mindset that they want to work the least and make the most, do the worst, because you're trying to get something for nothing. The people that I know in entrepreneurship that are the most successful, they work the hardest for the first 5 to 7 years, and then they finally get to that point. So I just want to be real with you guys, and I want to keep sharing this message as just like no BS, because it's just what I believe. I think if you do it the opposite way, you're potentially putting yourself in harm, and your family in harm, and your assets in harm's way. I hate the term passive income because I think overall it's a lie and it's a myth, and passive income doesn't really exist. That's why I think it's mostly BS. I think the people that want passive income the most are the ones who want to put in the least amount of effort. It goes into the rant that I had before. So the people, ironically, who start to make some passive income are the ones that front loaded all of the work on the beginning. There's just no way of going about it. It's like saying, I want to be exceptional at something and get results that are in the top 5% of people in the world and in the United States, but I want to put in the least amount of effort to do it. It's just like everyone who's great at something are usually great because they work their ass off to be great at it. Would I recommend investing in a laundromat and car wash franchises like other YouTubers like Cody Sanchez's? I don't really know a lot about laundromats. I mean, in my experience, where are there laundromats? In lower income areas. And is that really the business that you want to be in? I like, unless you're in a city where people just don't have laundry, it's like, do you want to be in that business? I don't know. I personally don't. Car washes, unless it's self-serve, the legit car washes are millions of dollars to get open. And I think you run into a similar situation where I think a lot of people out there, you can give them a great business and they'd run it into the ground because they don't know how to run it or operate it. The advice or how I feel about something depends on the individual. What everyone underestimates, they look at the opportunity. Should I buy a franchise? Should I buy this business? And it's less about the opportunity and more about you as the individual. That's my perspective on it. But I think what is most helpful is to take a look at yourself and to ask yourself what your skill set is. If you plan to get into a business or buy an existing business or something like that you don't know much about it, and you're trying not to put a lot of time and energy into it, I think there's obvious advantages to franchise system because you have a network of other franchisees that you can go to who are all operating that same business overall. There are also people that would do terrible in a franchise network because you don't listen in a good way. You can probably figure it out on your own, and you're just the type of person, you're not going to follow the system. And if you're not going to follow the system, it makes no sense for you to buy a franchise. Wanted to talk about a quick client that I think, some of you guys may see yourself in. So Kingsley, and he came to us as former military registered nurse. He was highly motivated to work for himself, and his wife was on board with that goal. She was a nurse as well. And he was pretty sure that he wanted to get into a senior care business, but was open to looking at some other options. And so our team helped evaluate some different types of ideas available in his market and his investment range. And ultimately, he knew senior care was the right fit for him. And he went through a process and was able to recently sign a franchise agreement for a franchise with over 300 units around the country. So, which is exciting, right? Because it's like you're buying into a business that has 300 units. You have the opportunity to do so much due diligence and get so much intel, by talking to so many of those owners, which is really great. But there's a lesson in here for some of you guys, which is I understand the desire and want to I want to do something different than the type of work I'm doing now or something I'm passionate about. I think sometimes the best way for you to make that leap is to do the boring work and get involved in a business that's leveraging your skill sets now or tied to experience that you have, where you can really capitalize, get yourself to succeed, even though it may not be as exciting. Get your first win under your belt and then go do what you're passionate about. That's kind of my thoughts overall. What is their profit margin? How long are they in business, and why are they selling? You would have to sign a non-disclosure agreement to see any financials on their profit and loss statement. Believe it or not, people don't just advertise that around their business, or like to. I don't know how long they've been in business, and it said the reason why they were selling was because they wanted to focus on another business. So again, you're going to get all the real info when you actually talk to the owner. Question: do you and your team only help with small franchises, or do you also help with the huge brands too? I guess the question is, what do you mean around huge brands? We can help anyone with any franchise. The question is whether we're actually the ones brokering the transaction. Some franchisors will not allow third-party brokers involved in the transactions. In some instances, we have clients that they come to us, they join our system, they use our tools, and we help and support them. We're just not the ones brokering the deal, which is fine. We've helped many people in that capacity. If you want help with that, go to franchiseempire.com. And then there's a blue button in the corner that says schedule a free call. Then you can schedule a call with our team. We can talk about more specifics. We don't always get access to all of the details up front on the business. Sometimes we do, and sometimes the team just puts in what they put in. So since our team is the one that researched that and found all the data, I personally don't know that off the top of my head. But if there's things that you want to know, you can schedule a call. Go to franchiseempire.com/resales. You can chat with our team. And whatever information that they have access to, they will obviously provide it to you. And if they don't, then they can connect you with, the franchisor and or the owner, so that you can get the information and details that you're asking for. All right, let's talk about the franchise of the week, then we'll come back to some of the other ones. So this is a company called Junk King. It's a Neighborly company. Neighborly is the largest home services franchisor in the U.S., if not the world. They own over 20 brands, I believe. So this original location started out in 2010 in California. They had some name changes, and they started franchising in 2010. They were bought by Neighborly in 2023. There are 3 corporate units. There are 169 franchise units. And by the way, I think some of you guys were asking some of the questions. When we do the resale breakdown, we don't do this breakdown. We only do this breakdown for the franchise of the week. The resale is more of a high level opportunity. If you want to learn more, then reach out. The franchise fee is $55,000, royalty 8%, national marketing fee $625 a month for the first year, then a flat $845 a month. The investment range is between $93,000 and $180,000. So this is where I come up with the term, right? Lower startup cost, because in the franchise world, really anything less than $200,000, I would say, is considered lower startup cost. And keep in mind, for those of you who aren't familiar with the way funding works, a lot of people fund with an SBA loan. The way that typically works is you need to put 20% down. let's call it 40 grand max, assuming you qualified, and then you can finance the rest of it. Some people, fund their business different ways too. All right. I think you could guess what the brand does, but Junk King removes and hauls away junk from residential and commercial customers using a truck with a customized truck box that is able to be used for disposing, reusing, and recycling. They're not in the business of picking up regular trash, but instead belongings that a person no longer needs or has a use for. On average, 60% of every truckload is recycled, reused, or repurposed. They also have dumpster rental services for those looking to have a dumpster on site for a few days. Let's talk some numbers, will we? So gross sales, this is what they showed for the calendar year of 2023. So where did we get the number for the title of this video? Well, the highest performing franchisee does $2.5 million in sales in 2023, right? But let's look at all the other numbers, because we are always as transparent as the franchisor is, and we show you all of the numbers regardless of what we put in the title. So the top quartile, when we take a look at that, there's 40 franchise businesses in that subset. The average gross sales is 1.1 million with that one. As you see, the highest grossing franchisee does 2.5 million. The second quartile, average sales 584,000. Third quartile, average sales 391,000. And the bottom quartile, so the bottom 25%, $237,000 in sales. The average of all those franchise units is $600,000, or all the ones that are reported that have been continually operated businesses. How they define continually operated businesses, I don't know, because we don't have all the fine language of their FDD here in this newsletter. They also list their cost of services sold as a percentage of gross sales, which is very interesting. So what they're showing is 49% gross profit margin, and showing kind of what that overall looks like. I'm not gonna dive deep into these numbers here, because it's going to get too complex. But obviously when a franchisor shows more data in their FDD is super helpful. Some of the benefits for the franchisee: they have a national call center that's open 365 days a year. Wow. And handles all inquiries and schedules jobs directly onto the franchisee's schedule. Again, typically there's an additional call center fee that you're paying for that. But again, this is where there could be a lot of value in a franchise system, right? Where it's imagine you had to hire your own 1 or 2 people for your own in-house call center, train them, constantly monitor them. One of the potential benefits: they have larger trucks and territories. So their trucks are 20% bigger than those of their competitors, and their territories are also large, at a population between 450 to 600,000. That's pretty cool. They are a green brand. They care about making the world a better place, and do so in a few ways. The more use a franchisee can recycle, the better it is for the environment and your bottom line. Less to the dump means less dumping fees. And overall, this business has a low employee count to start. You only need 2 to 3 employees to start with just 1 truck. And as your business grows and you need more trucks, you will add more employees. Makes sense. And then Neighborly, right? So Neighborly is the world's largest and fastest growing family of premier home services brands. Nearly 1 million customers with their 19 brands. Okay, I thought it was 20 or more, but 19 brands. So you get access to buying power, resources, training, marketing, and dedicated coaches to help you be successful. Neighborly is definitely the 800-pound gorilla. We've had many clients that have bought into various Neighborly brands that we have facilitated that process. So if you're interested in this brand and seeing if your territory is available in the area, you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory, right? And schedule a call with our team. By the way, these calls are only really if you know a specific brand that you want to find out is available in your area. Overall, most people we're going to work with in the capacity of our Zero to Profitable franchise system and mastermind, where you have a plethora, a bunch of different resources to help simplify the process for you, conduct due diligence, and basically where we help find the franchise, we handhold you through due diligence, and we keep working with you and supporting you even after you launch. That's how we work with 90% of our clients, by the way. But yeah, if you want to check on this franchise or you know a specific one, you want to know if it's available, go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. For owls, for resale, are you better off finding expensive resales as they are generating more income but costing more versus less risk in these type of businesses versus resales that cost less? That's a really great question. Every piece of advice that we give is customized to the individual, which is why like doing these videos are fun to just attract attention overall. But really the best way is like if we can talk to you individually and one-on-one and understand, your financial situation, your skill set, your background, because it's not one size fits all. Some people will be better off buying a really expensive resale that shows strong margins and they have the capital to do it and they have the experience to do it, right? Where they can step into the business and not feel massively overwhelmed or in over their head by potentially taking over a business that does $2 million a year in sales, right? That has 20 or 25 employees. Whereas there are certain people where if they did that, they'd probably lose the business in a year. They'd probably run the business into the ground because they don't have the skill set. They don't have the wherewithal. They would be completely in over their head. We've had people that have, bought franchises back for basically just the franchise fee, where the franchise owner wasn't really focusing on it. They had other businesses and that worked for them. We had a client that did it with a painting franchise, got it for less than $100,000, a resale. He's doing really well. So there's no better situation. The question is what's better for you and your specific situation. And so obviously you know where to find us if you want some assistance with having that conversation. Let's see, on item 19 of the FDD, does Jung King say about how many territories franchisees own versus revenue numbers? I don't know. I don't have the FDD in front of me, and our team put that together. So all I showed was the information that we had access to. Okay, last but not least, should I buy a franchise? Meaning, should you buy a franchise? So we had a client, Anthony. He came to us wondering, hey, like, is franchising the path that I should take? If so, like, what actually excites me? What could I align myself with? And he had no idea franchising was really going to be the path for him. And, fast forward 7 months later, is now a franchisee with a brand that he loves, but he was not confident about the decision or process from the beginning. And so we chatted with Anthony. I did a podcast with him. He's in his mid 50s, great guy, just an incredible human and individual. And we just talked through his journey, how he was able to get comfortable around those questions, what helped him do that, what franchise he ultimately did wind up buying. So you can watch that on YouTube. That's on our Franchise Empire specific YouTube channel. Or you can go listen on any podcast platform and go check it out. I'd highly recommend it. You get to hear directly from these people who are, where you want to be now, or have, answered questions that you want to get answered. So that's it. And that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in, and you guys have a great rest of your day.